Hello everyone, this is, as some of you might remember me, Dungeon Master Globa, or under my new title, Firestar Roleplaying. I am making a new video now, and I'm planning to get back into video making. I hope the quality isn't too bad. I'm having to record this on a phone, because I don't have any proper recording equipment, but anyways, I wanted to get on with it and make this video. First and foremost, I've had a lot of video suggestions, and I plan on making pretty much all of them, if I can. And I figured the best place to start, and the most important place to start, was to start with this video. Talking about immersive role-playing. And what is immersive role-playing, and why is it so important? Well, what immersive role-playing is, you go in there, you sit down at the table, or sit down at the computer, or sit down at wherever you play, and you just get into the world. You cancel everything else out. You immerse yourself. You get into the character. You're not you anymore, you're the character now. You don't act like yourself, you act like your character. You don't think like yourself, you think like your character. You don't see the world through your eyes, you see the world through your character's eyes. And that can just provide such a wonderful experience, because especially in fantasy, you can't go and find a world filled with exotic different species, sentient species in real life. I mean, the best thing you could do is go on an adventure to like Madagascar or whatever, but you won't go and find like another race of sentient people somewhere else besides humans in real life. But you can do that in a fantasy world. You know, you take this opportunity to do things you can't do in real life. You know, you can't have magical fireballs and resurrection powers and healing powers and all that stuff, but you can in a fantasy world. You can't be a master swordsman who goes out and battles bandits in real life. You can in a fantasy world. You know, kind of just think, what would you want to do in a fantasy world, and then get into your character. And you don't have to. Well, a lot of people associate role-playing, I find, with intrigue, political games, etc., which is very, very true. That's the heart and soul of those games. But you can also have a hack and slash type game that has role-playing in it. And now, I don't mean hack and slash by go into the dungeon, clear one floor, go back to the town, buy some stuff from the innkeeper or whatever. What I mean is, you can have a bounty hunter who goes out and hunts down these vicious criminals and brings them back to justice, and you can have a rich with story and role-playing. You can have a soldier who's fighting a war and then still have rich role-playing. You know, it doesn't matter what you play as. Role-playing is a state of mind. If you believe that you can roleplay something, you pretty much can. Voices are great, but they're not necessary. So even if you're not the greatest voice actor in the world, if you can make your voice just a little bit different, just to identify that it's your character talking instead of you talking, you know, going, hey, or hey, or something like that, you know, just like that, just heighten or lower your voice just to let somebody know that you're not actually saying something out of character, then that's more than enough for me. And you can get in there and just pretend that the real world's not here anymore, you know. Set aside these however many hours, and you're in your world. You're in Forgotten Realms. You're in Kavagathel. You're in the World of Darkness. You're in whatever you are, and leave the real life. Just pick it up, put it aside. Forget it. It's not real life time anymore. It's role-playing time. And if you dislike one of the other players at the table, or you have an argument out of game with them or something, try to leave it behind if you can, and just focus on the real game, especially if you're a game master. Don't take out slights. Like, if your player said something to you or did something, don't, you know, take it out on them in game. And if you're a role player, just because you disagree with someone's personal views in real life, don't take it out on their character. The same as vice versa. You could be playing with your best friend in the world. If your characters disagree, then disagree, but in game, and just try to keep it in character. And if somebody does something to your character that you don't like, try to just roll with it. Unless they did it on purpose, then, you know, just to annoy you, then there's probably a problem, but that's a whole nother video. But if it's their character acting the way their character would, and you all agreed at your session 0 or whatever that, oh hey, we're going to be playing these characters and we're all okay with this kind of conflict, then go with it. Just roll with the punches. If you're playing someone who is over here and he's doing his business thing as a merchant, and then another player is doing his business thing as a merchant, and then you undercut the other player and he loses business, that's completely fine to me, because they're role playing. You know, they're doing what their character would do. But in the same token, be nice to people, even if you wouldn't do it in real life, if that's what your character would do. Maybe you spare someone's life that you wouldn't spare, or something like that in real life, if your character would. Maybe kill someone if you wouldn't kill them in real life, but your character would. Something like that. Just try to really dig into it and dig deep within yourself and find out, what would my character do? Not what would I do, but what would they do? Would they rebel against this tyrant? I know I sure would. But with my character, maybe they like it. Maybe they like the power tyrant gives them, or vice versa. Would I just sit back and accept this bad thing happening because I don't really care? It doesn't, they're messing with people I don't care about. But maybe your character won't stand for that kind of thing, and you get in there and you do that. And also, it's important is, don't make a character who is going to just ruin the game for everyone. Don't make someone that runs opposite to other people's characters on purpose. Don't make a character who is just a complete jerk. Nobody's going to like them. Heck, you're probably not going to like them. And it's just going to make the game lesser. So instead, think about it and think deep on your character. Let it, roll around in your mind. Think, where did they come from? Why are they here? Why are they doing this? Why are they adventuring? Why are they being a merchant? Why are they being a prince? Why are they doing whatever they're doing? Think about, why are they doing it? And then think about their motivations, think about their goals, think about their likes, think about their dislikes, think about their favorite food. You don't have to really go that in-depth, but I recommend going as in-depth as you possibly can, as you possibly have the time for, and write it down. You don't have to write a bio. I've seen some people write a lot of stuff for their characters, and I've seen some people not write a single thing on a single piece of paper, and I've seen both people roleplay greatly. But I think it helps to write down, okay, this is my character's favorite food, this is the town they were born from, this is their birthday, etc. Because those things can be hard to keep track of. Even if you don't want to write down a bio, you should probably keep character notes, at least. And everything else, you can store in your head if you have a good enough memory. And then think about that. When it comes down to it, your character is in a situation, good or bad. How do they react? And if you feel yourself being genuinely offended by something that happened in the game, my best advice would be to roll with it, and then after the game, talk to the game master and explain to them your feelings. But aside from that, unless something genuinely disturbs you, either get up and walk away if it's too bad, or if you think you can handle it, just okay, you have a swat of badness in the game, roll with it, talk to the game master. But other than those extreme scenarios, try to ignore your personal feelings on the situation and focus on making a good story. Make your character a good character. Make them likable. They don't have to be a hero or a villain to be likable. They don't have to be anti-hero to be likable. They just have to be interesting to be likable. You could make a freaking lumberjack peasant and probably make them likable and make them a cool character. I mean, it would be difficult and might get kind of boring for most people, but, just as an example. And that's something with immersive role-playing that you will make. If you immersively roleplay, you will make a better character than anyone else who just kind of role plays. Anyone who looks at their character sheet and goes, yeah, I'm a fighter, so let me do a voice, and then I'm just gonna run out there and play myself. Or I'm gonna maybe okay, I'm an elf fighter now instead of a human fighter, but I'm still going to do mostly what I would do. Maybe I'll do a little bit different here, maybe I'll do a little bit different there, but more or less it's me. Don't do that, because you'll make a more interesting character than that, because that character will be seen 1,000 times if you just make them do everything what you do. It can be fun, to play yourself in certain situations, but make sure everyone's in agreement that okay, we're basically going to be playing ourselves in this game, that everyone's doing the same thing, and it's it's all for the fun of it. Sorry about that. The video cut out on me. Anyways, don't go into a serious game playing like that. But I think that's probably about all I can really say about the situation. Is just try to remember that the character is not you and you are not the character, and then base your role playing off of that, and you'll be fine. This has been Dungeon Master Globa, a Firestar role playing, signing off.